welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we are jumping straight into something literally everyone does, but rarely stops to think about. We're talking about the incredible hidden biology of aerobic exercise. And our journey, it starts the exact second you lace up your sneakers.
Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever actually wondered what happens deep inside your cells when you just go for a brisk walk? You feel your heartbeat a little faster, you start breathing a bit heavier, but beneath the surface, your body is instantly orchestrating this massive, microscopic chemical reaction. So, we're going to take an inside-out look at the science of movement, starting right at the cellular level.
So what does aerobic even mean? Well, literally, it means relating to, involving, or requiring oxygen. Think of your cells as tiny, microscopic engines. Just like a car engine needs a spark to ignite its gas, your body absolutely needs oxygen to burn fuel, like carbs, proteins, and fats. When you're exercising aerobically, you breathe in oxygen, your blood rushes it straight to your cell's mitochondria, and those mitochondria use it to pump out ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. That's the pure chemical energy currency that powers every single muscle contraction. But we haven't always understood or even used the word aerobics. The history of it is actually kind of a wild ride. It really kicked off back in 1961 when Dr. Bill Orban created the Royal Canadian Air Force exercise plans, which basically launched modern fitness culture. Then, in 1968, Dr. Kenneth Cooper of the U.S. Air Force literally coined the term aerobics after he studied the health benefits of movement on thousands of troops. And that hard scientific foundation, it quickly sparked those incredibly colorful, commercialized, high-energy dance crazes of the 70s and 80s. You know the ones, jazzercise, the neon leg warmers, the whole shebang. Section 1. The Engine Room. The Science of Burning Energy. Let's move past the neon spandex for a minute and look at the actual physiological mechanics of how this energy burn works. When scientists really want to know how efficient your personal engine is, they measure something called your VO2 max. This is your maximal oxygen uptake, and it's the absolute gold standard for measuring cardiorespiratory fitness. Your VO2 max basically tells us exactly how well your heart and lungs team up to pull oxygen from the air and deliver it to your working muscles when you're going all out. Another super fascinating way we measure this energy is through METs, or metabolic equivalents. So 1 MET is the amount of energy your body's burning right now, just sitting and listening to this. But the second you stand up and go for a brisk walk, say about 4 miles per hour, your cellular energy output instantly multiplies to 5 METs. You are literally burning 5 times the energy simply by changing your pace. How crazy is that? Section 2. The Great Debate. Steady state versus high intensity. Now, what's really interesting here is diving into the biggest question we always get asked. When it comes to fueling your engine, which type of cardio is actually better for you? Right, so we're usually comparing moderate intensity continuous training, or MICT, think of a nice steady jog or bike ride, against high intensity interval training, or HIIT. Now, steady-state cardio is this continuous oxygen-fueled process that studies prove is highly effective and super sustainable for long-term visceral fat loss. HIIT, on the flip side, is all about short, brutal bursts of effort that quickly drains the oxygen in your cells, pushing you into an anaerobic state. It creates what scientists call an oxygen debt, or EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. Because your body has to work overtime to pay back that oxygen debt, HIIT actually keeps you burning calories for up to 24 hours after your workout. Both are absolutely incredible. They're just doing different jobs for your engine. To really put this into perspective and see how intensity scales up your engine's calorie burn, the data from the American Heart Association paints a very clear picture. For a 150-pound person, a 1-hour steady walk at 3 miles per hour burns about 362 calories. If you hop on a bike and pedal at around 12 miles per hour, boom, that jumps to 544 calories. But if you push the intensity and run at 10 miles per hour, you double it to over 1,000 calories. The higher the intensity, the hotter that cellular fire burns. Let's ground this in everyday reality, though. You don't always have to run at a breakneck pace to see results. Just getting on an elliptical machine at the gym for some moderate intensity continuous training is an absolutely phenomenal way to drive long-term cardiovascular adaptations. Over time, this kind of steady work literally trains your heart to pump way more blood per beat, which safely and naturally lowers your resting heart rate. Section 3. full body and mind impact beyond the calorie burn. Let's zoom out from the cellular level for a second and talk about the profound, full body impacts of regular movement. The physical benefits of aerobic exercise are honestly basically superpowers. We're talking about physically enlarging and strengthening your heart muscle so its pumping efficiency goes through the roof. It melts away dangerous visceral fat, drops your blood pressure, and improves your body's glucose tolerance. That drastically reduces your risk for type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. It's a total game changer for your physical health. And this brilliantly illustrates that exercise isn't just for the body below the neck. It is an incredibly potent, non-pharmaceutical intervention for your mind. It reliably reduces symptoms of depression and anxiety by just flooding your brain with endorphins and neurotransmitters. But get this, it also structurally protects the brain. Studies show it improves episodic memory in late adulthood and boosts overall cognitive capacity. It is literally anti-aging medicine for your brain, no prescription required. Section 4. Building your optimal routine, guidelines for daily life. So how do we actually harness all of this in the real world? Let's shift from the why to the how. Well, the CDC and the World Health Organization give us a really accessible weekly blueprint. The golden target is 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic activity a week. Now wait, don't let that number intimidate you. The science clearly shows you can break this down into bite-sized 10-minute daily chunks. A quick 10-minute brisk walk to the store or some vigorous gardening that entirely counts toward your goal. Mix that with 2 days of full-body strength training, and you've got the perfect, science-backed recipe for longevity. If you're still feeling a bit overwhelmed by those numbers, I absolutely love this quote from Professor Jeff Horowitz, a movement scientist at the University of Michigan. He says, "Even just getting off the couch is very potent in reducing risk for disease. After that, it's diminishing returns." Seriously. The biggest leap in health you will ever make doesn't happen when you go from running 5 miles to running a marathon. It happens when you go from doing absolutely nothing to just doing a little bit of movement. In fact, massive, large-scale data reveals this incredible tipping point. Just 11 minutes of moderate exercise a day is enough to significantly reduce your risk of early death, cardiovascular disease, stroke, and cancer. That is wild. Just over 10 minutes a day makes a massive, deeply measurable physiological difference in your body. So we've seen exactly how oxygen fuels your cellular engine, how steady state and high intensity both sculpt your fitness, and how movement totally transforms your heart and your mind. If just 11 minutes of walking can literally rewire your cells and extend your life, where will you take your first steps today?